Hello, Miriam E. here. I'm really excited to bring to you some of my poetry from my recently released book, Phoenix, as well as other poetry that I haven't released yet. The Phoenix is an abstract poetic exploration that chronicles my personal journey from having very severe complex mental health issues and the intersection of my faith and how that has helped me to manage myself over my life. It's not a spiritual book. It's not a very overtly Christian book. It is the poems are quite abstract. So I hope that as you read them and as you hear them from me and hear about them, you will be able to glean your own experience from those poems and how they hopefully connect with your own life. So without further ado, I would like to read one. I'm not reading them in order, by the way. I'm just reading them as I feel to read them. So the first one is called Twins. I am dichotomous. The breeze, the tornado, bubbling brook, and crashing waves. I am a conundrum, a paradox wrapped in soft pink flesh, wild as the wolf, tame as the dog. I can't quite remember when specifically I wrote Twins. I'd have to, go back through my archives. But as I was looking at it today, I was thinking, what is this poem really about? I don't know if you're a writer or not, but I don't tend to think about what my poems are about when I'm writing them. I don't always connect the piece that I've written with the things that I'm going through. Sometimes it's really clear, it's really obvious. But other times, like this particular one, it's difficult to really connect the dots in that respect. I'm sure at the time I probably felt that it was reflecting something that I was feeling about myself at the time. But as I read back over it now, I find it quite fascinating to pull the words apart a little bit and the phrases. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of a exploration of that. So the word dichotomous, I'm sure you probably already know what it means, but just for the purpose of this little video and pulling the poem apart a little bit, it is a division into two parts. It's from what I've read, it's a terminology often used with planting and with trees in particular, with plants, and it's where you have one root, one stem, and it splits off into two. I felt that was a really great way to start the poem because it immediately gives you the sense that there are two versions here. There are two distinct ways in which to exist in the world, I suppose. And I think every human being has a spectrum of different parts of them that we reveal, we don't reveal, we reveal at certain times, we don't, etc. So that's really where that initial concept is coming from. And from that, I've tried to explore that theme a little bit more specifically, such as using the breeze and tornado. They are one and the same. They are both from wind, but they express very, very different ways in which the wind operates and ways in which the wind expresses itself throughout the world. Same with the bubbling brook and crashing waves. Again, that hope of setting one against the other, where you can see both sides of the coin. I think there's a lot of movement in that first stanza as far as the real strong difference between the quiet, the breeze, and the bubbling brook, and the tornado and the crashing waves, that very strong sense of being at peace and not being at peace. If you are someone or know someone who has experienced mood disorders or has had problems with anxiety or depression, even just normal highs and lows of a day where things go really well and then they come crashing down, that feeling of things being at peace and on track and then being completely disrupted. It's very much that's where that genesis of the difference between the two comes from. So I'm a conundrum. It is a word that comes up a fair bit in my writing. I am a puzzle, and I've always felt that I'm a puzzle, and that my job is to try and analyze and understand that puzzle and try and put all of the pieces together. It is a word that really has been with me for as long as I can remember words, and I think a very fitting, very fitting way of expressing myself and how I see myself. And then the next line, a paradox wrapped in soft pink flesh. A paradox is a word I actually had to investigate before I used it, because sometimes we use words that we don't actually really understand, but we use them anyway. I'm very guilty of that. But when I looked it up, I really felt that it was quite appropriate. It's when something seems to be opposing, it seems to be different to each other, and in the extreme, but it actually turns out that they're one and the same. And again, going along the lines of a dichotomy and a conundrum, the paradox, this is the paradox of who I am. I am both the breeze and the tornado. I am both the gentle brook and the crashing waves, wrapped in soft pink flesh. Well, initially I was like, I'm a girl, I'm soft. I don't really know what I was thinking when I wrote that, but as I read it now, I really see that there's that's very much the vulnerability of humanity. That is the human being. That vulnerability of soft pink flesh. It's almost like a reflection of when we're little and we're babies and we're very vulnerable and exposed. And then, of course, finishing off with wild as the wolf, tame as the dog is like just a reflection back to the first two lines, the first four lines of the stanza. So I think really wrapping this up, what Twins is about recognizing that I, and therefore everyone hopefully, we all have the capacity to be wild and the capacity to be vulnerable, the capacity to be cautious and deliberate, the capacity to be quiet and to be loud, and that it's got nothing to do with whether we're an extrovert or an introvert or an ambivert or a whatever vert or any kind of box we like to put ourselves in. Humans are complex and we are diverse. We are a kaleidoscope. Inside these bodies, inside these minds, is a kaleidoscope of ideas and things that don't match, and that's okay. We try to put ourselves in all these little boxes and keep ourselves, straight and narrow, because that makes us feel safe. But the reality is that when we do that, we actually make ourselves pretty unsafe, in my opinion. We need to learn how to live in the balance between chaos and order. And I think if I think about the words I've chosen for twins, the breeze, the brook, the soft pink flesh, the dog, they are very much the order, the calm, the peace, the places of safety. Whereas the tornado, the crashing waves, the paradox and the wild wolf, they're definitely on the opposite side of the coin there. So just finishing up, I hope that this little exploration has been interesting for you, and I will just continue to do these and see where they go. I would love your feedback, especially at this period in history. It's currently May 2020, and for anybody who watches this afterwards, the world is literally engulfed in a virus that has crippled humanity in a way that really just hasn't happened, in not like this, and not so fast. So my hope is that as I share my stories and share my words with you, that you will be encouraged, that you will be challenged and motivated to think bigger than you do, because we can all think bigger than we do. And I would love to hear your feedback. You know, we're pretty isolated where we are at the moment, and we're still in a fairly big stage of lockdown in our country. So getting to see people and have conversations is challenging. Drop me a line on Facebook. You can go to my website, which is www.miriammiles.com, and I'm on all the social media channels, and on email, and you know, just I'd really love to hear what you think about what I'm writing, if you'd like me to write about topics that I haven't yet. And of course, you know, I can't finish without saying I'd love you to buy my book. I have a small run of these beautiful print versions. Who doesn't like poetry in print? You can buy an ebook if you prefer via Amazon. Just put the title in and my name and it'll come up. Or you can buy one of these. It will be personally signed in here with a little inscription, and delivered to your door. So that's pretty much it for today, for this session. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I look forward to your comments, and I will say goodbye. See you next time.